Hello, everyone. Welcome to Whose Views. It's Sunday. It's the 15th of March, 2026. It's live at 6. Hope you are well. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Hope you're having a lovely day. Good to see you all. Yes, here we are again. This is the show on Whose Views where absolutely anything could happen. Anything could go at live at 6. Usually involves me having some sort of rant or whatever. But today, actually, I'm celebrating something, but not what you think I might be celebrating in this particular show. Nice to see you all in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. Hello to Hugh Janus. Hiya. And hello to Bill Lowry. Nice to see you. That lovely picture of Hartnell there. How fantastic is that? We still can't get over that, can we? We are going to be talking more about that, of course, in your big show at 8 o'clock because we're still celebrating. It's such good news. John Roberts has just joined us. Hello, mate. Hello, Matt. Matt Enspiel's with us too. It's good to see you all. John Mason, hello. And Johnny the Cabbage is saying to us, good evening, horror lovers. Ooh, that's not just because you've got to look at my ugly mug. Hey, John, good to see you, because John is saying, I can actually make the 6 o'clock show for a change. Cool. Well, I hope so. When you've heard what I'm kicking off about, I tell you, I hope so. Good to see you. Darren Reed, I like this. He says, whatever it is, we're here to put it right. I hope so. I hope so. Yes, but it's just one of those things, isn't it? And watching from the all the way from over in Canada is the Nate channel. Nice to see you, my friend. What's this from Ian? Hello, Ian. This is Ian Delby. Remember last Christmas? Well, for all those who didn't, we have a recap from 6 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. where then we have a new episode of Mrs. Brown's Boys, where Grandad has done a whoopsies on the carpet and the vicar is about to call. Much hilarity ensues. It's about right, isn't it? I have the strangest feeling that with the addition of this alleged Doctor Who Christmas episode coming up, who cares about that now? It's going to be exactly the same as last Christmas, and I think it's going to be another ratings flop for the BBC this year. This is the private account. Nice to see you. How are you doing? And John, the computer doctor, is saying, hello, hope all is well. Yeah. Oh, there you are. This is a private account. Good to see you all. Happy Mother's Day. Yeah, happy Mother's Day. We're still partying, JT, says Steve Braddock, just as well, because as I say, we're going to be continuing talking about that fantastic news here on the channel at 8 o'clock for your big show. Hello to SG, hello to Kev, hello to Frankie. Good to see you all. I love this show because I know that you're going to turn up if you can at 6 o'clock and have a chat with me. You're Robert Payne's here as well. I'm Rick Storm. I know nobody cares about the Christmas special. Special being in inverted commas. They don't, because we've got our bit. We've had our Christmas now, haven't we? And who knows what else could happen this year? I think it's going to be a nice year for us. Hi, Craig. How are you doing, Craig Dunlop? Good to see you. And Bill Lowry is saying, Christmas special, is Heartland in it? Nope, I don't care. Yeah. I know, we're all like that. Look, SG's like it as well, still buzzing from Friday's announcement. It was the best news we'd had in ages, wasn't it? Hello, John Pope, how are you doing? Good evening, JT, and all from a cold and wet London. Oh, yeah, it's not so good here as well where I am either. It's been a bit off all day and it's peeing down at the moment where I am. Hi Mark McIntosh here. I've just come home from the pub. So great to see you at 6. What's this from Simon? Hello, Simon Mills. How you doing, mate? Have you heard JT? That's my line. Oi. BBC heads think Doctor Who can't scare kids anymore. Yeah, we've implied that over the last goodness know how many weeks on headlines on your big show. Because that's it was very evident, of course, in the Gatwick era. Now, whether or not it's the BBC heads, I don't know. But I definitely think it was RTD and his cronies that had a lot to do with that, because it was watered down crap, wasn't it? Those 3 years, including the Tennant nonsense, watered down crap. And when you look at the stuff he was doing beforehand and overseeing beforehand for his first set of episodes back from 2005, as Robert Holmes used to say, scare the little buggers. And they weren't frightened of doing that, were they? Now they are. And I think it's because it's all this far left ideological nonsense and all this, what people would say was wokery about, you can't scare the kids. Oh, you've got to wrap them up in cotton wool. But we've got to face it. That's happening all the time, isn't it, Simon? I'm seeing kids literally, running around the place now, not knowing what the real world is, because they're all being wrapped up by idiotic parents. And I blame the parents all the time, quite frankly. I do. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Whether it's a BBC head or not, or whether they're just following RTD's lead, not too sure. But yeah, it's pretty obvious. It's been pretty obvious for the last 3 years. Hello, PB. You're going to love this evening, I can assure you. Nice to see you. Funky is saying the returned Dalek Master Plan episodes will probably get a trigger warning before anyone can watch them on Night Player. There'll be something there. There'll be something there. Honestly, there will. And SG can't scare kids anymore. That explains Space Babies. It does, doesn't it? And also the drag queen thing, and well, everything in the last 3 years that they've fed out because they weren't prepared to go down the science fiction route, the proper science fiction route. As I say, it's no surprise that people are now, why people are only now waking up when we've been saying it for a couple of years. I've no idea. I don't know. What are you saying to us, Heretic? Hi all, watching this with my family while having dinner, so no swearing anyone. Well, hello to your family. Lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for tuning in, because I'm going to be going off in a minute. So I hope everybody is going to be okay with that. Sheila B in the devotions. Nice to see you. Oh, yes, and Kev's with us as well. Hello, Kev. So let me get started with this afternoon, because if you are a regular, and you all are, to Whose Views on our channel here, you will know I am not really a fan of reality television. I think it's quite lazy and fairly cheap, obviously. Now, having said that, there are a couple that in the past few months I've got into. One is about a family on a farm in Yorkshire. No idea what it's called. No idea what it's called at all, but I quite enjoyed that one because I find it's just relaxing. And then the other one is Canal Boat Diaries with Robbie Cumming. Believe it or not, I think it's brilliant. I think that's a great show where I'm quite happy to sit there for however long he's on the telly, watching him on his canal boat, which is called the Naughty Lass, which is quite funny, traveling the waterways of England. You know, some nice stuff there. And again, I find it relaxing. So I don't mind it at all. So there's something about those sort of shows. But when it comes to all the other shows, there's none I like, really. None I like. And that includes all this nonsense that comes out from the BBC, ITV and Channel 4, which is revolving around the TQ cult. And one of the ones I have been speaking about recently, or well, whenever it was last year on a live at 6, was something called well, it was supposed to be a gay dating show, and it was called I Kissed a Boy. Now, on a previous live at 6, I was going on about this, just saying it was absolutely ridiculous and pointing out that the whole thing was homophobic. The reason because they put a woman in the last series. Yes, they did. And I am delighted this week to hear that the thing has been axed. I am laughing. I am laughing at these people that decided to do this, these homophobic TQ cult nonsense people. I am laughing at the fact they've had their television show axed. I am laughing at the fact that a small amount of people that were watching this thing are mourning it and moaning about it. I am laughing at them all. So ha to them, because it was a homophobic show. This came to light just this week. BBC decision, said bbc.co.uk, to axe LGBTQ plus dating show is 2 steps back, says the contestant. Now, if you'd seen any of the contestants on this thing, and now I've never watched it, no way was I going to go near it, of course, but I was very aware of what was going on in this last series they were doing. Last series now being the word. Haha. It's hosted by Danny Minogue. Yes, it was. Yeah, so she should know better. But obviously jumped on that bandwagon, as many of them have, because they haven't looked into it. They've not thought about it, and they just see the letters LGBTQ plus, and they think that's the main thing. I will always argue, as you guys will know, hashtag LGB without the TQ. We have nothing in common with them. And bearing in mind that the majority of transgenders are heterosexual, what the hell have they got to do with homosexual? Nothing. And that's going to come out in this. Now, the contestants that have been on this, from what I could see from the last series they did, are what you would expect them to be, very confused, mincing ninnies, quite frankly, from the TQ cult, who shocked themselves in that series and must be questioning themselves now because their whole world evaporated around them while they were on that show. So there's an awful lot of people that have been bludgeoned, if you like, into believing that a trans woman is a woman and a trans man is a man. They are not. They are not. And homosexuals know this. Some of them have only discovered when it's presented to them on an alleged reality TV show. Have a look at this and we'll go through it, because the article continues. Former contestants of the now axed BBC LGBTQ plus dating show say they feel frustrated and sad at the decision to shelve the programme. I Kissed a Boy first aired on BBC Three in 2023 and made history as the UK's first gay dating show. A year later, the show's production company, 24, no sympathy for them at all, launched an all-women series called I Kissed a Girl before switching back to the all-male cast in 2025. Despite the popularity of the shows, that's questionable, the BBC has confirmed that both versions will end after the next series. BBC bosses say while they are exceptionally proud of the show, they have had to make difficult choices in light of funding challenges. There are no plans for the show to return after the newest season of I Kissed a Girl airs on BBC Three, the BBC statement added. I'm not even shocked at this point, somebody called Jordan Burrow, who appeared in the second series of I Kissed a Boy, tells BBC's Newsbeat. I just feel like it's very much an example of where we are within the queer community and where we stand with people who are not in the community. Hosted by pop star Danny Minogue, the show saw 10 contestants shacked up in a sun-soaked villa and, as the title suggests, introduced with a kiss. With no small talk or messages beforehand, contestants on both the men and women's versions were encouraged to give their new relationships a shot, accompanied with lots of twists and turns. The couples would take part in regular kiss-offs, where they would then decide if they wanted to seal the deal with their current partner or explore a new connection. Sounds a bit sleazy to me as well, to be quite honest. We need that show now more than ever to provide a representation, to provide a voice so people can see people that look and act like them on the TV, says Burrow. God forbid, says me. The 27-year-old describes the impact of the show as groundbreaking for the community. Oh, what an absolute burk. It actually made people really stop and talk about it, he says. No, it didn't. All we can ask for in the community is people to speak about things, because while we speak about things, we can sort of grind down homophobia. No clue. These people have no clue. You're actually on a show that is supporting homophobia. Why? Let's continue. Burrow hopes that previous seasons will help others. It's been out there, so people will hopefully be able to look back on it. And as the cast of the show, a lot of us do a lot of campaigning. So I think that in itself, we have had to be glad that it happened. It's just sad that it's ended. Priya Sonhapal, who appeared on the first season of I Kissed a Girl, says, despite feeling hesitant about appearing in the show, it was one of the best things she has done. I had received so many messages from other queer South Asian women saying how nice it was and how reaffirming it was to see someone like them on television, the 25-year-old from Newport says. Sonpal says it was frustrating to hear the show was getting cancelled and feels the same weight should be given to LGBTQ plus dating shows as it is to straight dating programs. People wanted something different, and when they got it, it's now been taken away from them, she adds. It's sort of like one step forward, two steps back. Minogue thanked the BBC and production company 24 for allowing her to be part of such a powerful and important show. I'm so proud that this show has given us the chance to celebrate so many people from the LGBTQ plus community who have made up our wonderful cast, she added in the statement. She said the integrity and intention of the show has made it the most special experience in her almost 40 years of television. I can't wait for you to see the brand new series of I Kissed a Girl, bringing all the excitement and joy this show represents, she added. These people are totally and utterly delusional. Hardly anybody was watching it, and the only people that were watching it were members of the TQ cult. That's it. It's absolutely... Now, so this is supposed to be a gay dating program. It does come across as a bit sleazy to me, what they were expecting the contestants to do. It's produced, I believe, by a load of heterosexuals that have jumped on the bandwagon. But the TQ cult is mainly run and organized and devised and originated by heterosexuals. Now, why they would want to think that this show is going to be popular with a huge amount of people shows the utter ignorance of these people, because there is LGB And then there's the TQ. I don't care what they say. I don't care what RTD and his nonsense needs to call it and say. It's true. And that divide, thankfully, is getting bigger as more and more same-sex attracted men and women wake up to the fact that the TQ cult is pushing homophobia. I'm going to come to you in the chat now and see what you're saying so far about this. Thank you for joining me this evening. Matt Enspiel is saying, I Kissed a Boy sounds like a modern day Let's Pay a Farthing to Watch the Inmates in Bedlam. How regressive. Yep, it does actually. Funky is saying, unfortunately, ITV will probably pick it up. The fact is it wasn't getting any viewing figures. I think it was stuck on BBC Three, which is fine, and it was minimal. So it might end up on sort of a streaming thing, because the production company 24, who obviously says that absolutely nothing, obviously they're thinking, no, they haven't a clue what they're doing because they're on this TQ cult bandwagon. People have to start realizing that we're not the same. Same-sex attraction and the TQ cult lot, two different things. And to coin their phrases, homosexual rights are human rights. They seem to forget that. Women's rights are human rights. They seem to forget that. They're nuts, says Sheila B in the devotion. They totally are. Problem being, I don't want to see them on television. How is it that only representation we ever get is embarrassing activist types that are nothing but empty vessels and stereotypes? Exactly. Exactly. That's the problem, isn't it? And they are embarrassing. These activists have no clue. And a lot of them, again, are well-meaning but lunatic heterosexuals that think they're doing something good, but they're not, because they never see the bigger picture. They've not bothered to look at the big picture. Hello, Marine Boy. It's ITV2 fodder, not the kind of crap I'd want from the BBC, but these days it's expected. Yes, they're that desperate to get that young audience, as I said before on the channel. I have this belief that the BBC are so intent on snaring a younger audience to ensure that the license fee is kept going. It's not going to happen because the younger people, a lot of them, especially the ones that would watch this crap, are fickle. They're fickle and they won't pay for a TV license. A lot of them won't even know they have to because mummy and daddy will be doing it. Kev Gresham saying, people, let's face it, if the show had good ratings, they would have kept it. But like Doctor Who, the viewership is not there and they're not interested. Plus, of course, it had a lot of flack from the last series. Johnny the Cabbage is saying to me, made history. Danny Minogue is no Churchill. Yeah, we've heard that this week before somewhere, haven't we? Absolutely. That made me laugh this week. And John Steed is saying they should do reality TV Bad Wolf style. Yeah. I might even watch something like that. There's quite a few people I would put up for something like that these days. Hey, John, you know, Darren, reality TV is so corruptible anyway, and the people on it easily manipulated. The fact is, you're absolutely right when it comes to this one, because they went and advertised within LGBTQ plus and whatever letter they want to add to it by the minute. The community there, which is not the LGB. So the first I knew of this series was when it was actually in the news last year. The Mincing Ninnies, says Steve Braddock, sounds like a name for the 2026 Doctor Who monsters. We'll copyright whose views. That's what I'm saying on that one. I heard, says SG, last year that LGB and the TQ had officially separated. You can't actually put an official on it because unfortunately we do have a lot of the TQ cult that are still pushing this whole LGBTQ plus thing. And look at the reporting all the time. I'm going to be showing you something else in a minute. The reporting all the time is currently always now LGBTQ plus, and it shouldn't be. There's LGB and there's TQ. And as I say, these people need to start waking up to the fact that transgenders are overwhelmingly heterosexual. Same-sex attracted men and women owe them sweet FA. Nothing. There's all this crap going on now where they've rewritten the history books with the breakout of the riot in 1969 at Stonewall, which gave birth to Pride, which was then gay and lesbian pride. And they've rewritten it to shoehorn in somebody called Marsha P. Johnson, who was not even there when the riots were occurring at Stonewall. He wasn't transgender either. He was a gay man in drag. He wasn't there. He wasn't transgender, but they've altered the history books. And I get this all the time on social media. You owe your rights to trans people. No, I bloody don't. No, I do not. I owe it to very, very, very brave same-sex attracted women and men back in the day that stood up for the future. And I actually came into all this towards the end of the 80s, through the 90s, and into the new century as well, as many of us watching the show would have done. So to have these people hand same-sex attracted men and women's achievements to heterosexuals, that's homophobia at its highest level, and it really annoys it. It really annoys me. Hello, Julianne. How are you, darling? What's lower, the ratings, the participants' IQ, or the morals of the producers? Great question. I wish I could answer it. If anybody from the production team wants to come on and discuss it, then you can. Get in touch with me. You can. I would love to hear from you. And we have an email address for you. It's whosviews1@gmail.com. There it is there. whosviews1@gmail.com. You're very welcome to come on and justify your homophobia, because that's all it is. That's all it is. Johnny the Cabbage is going straight to it. They're thick. And Channel 4, says John Steed, is up there with the BBC in producing slop television. It is. And don't forget that Channel 4 here in the UK also receives public money. So you're paying for the license fee for the BBC, but you're also getting or Channel 4 also gets something from your taxes as well. So I was in favour a few years ago of privatizing Channel 4 and getting rid of it, especially when they brought in all this crap like that Naked Game or whatever it was called, the silly thing, I don't know. Problem being, people who don't live in reality should not be in charge of making reality television shows. That's a great point, because we all know the people in the alleged entertainment history live in a bubble, don't we? We all know that. And oh, look, there's a bandwagon. I better jump on that. We've seen that a lot over the last few years, haven't we? Really, since 2020 as well, when the whole world went insane and it hasn't got back. Sheila B is pointing out that I won't be watching anything on the bargain basement crap, BBC, as I don't have a license. Good for you, darling. John Mason, I like that comment. I don't know if I can read it out. Oh, sorry, I will. They'll be doing an Islamic version set on top of a building. This is the other thing about these queers, with all this queers for Palestine crap. Pop over there and see how it goes down with them. Go on. See what sort of a welcome there. Pick your building. Stupid, stupid clowns. They really, really are. Idiots. Hello, Margie. How are you? Margie75. Harvey Milk was an activist who fought for LGBT rights until his murder in 1978. Yes, in the States. Harvey Milk, of course, being a huge and significant figure in LGBT rights. I'm surprised that they haven't made him transgender yet, to be honest. It's probably just a matter of time with these idiots. Lovely film as well. Do you remember the film Milk from God knows how many years ago now? Great film there. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, so we've got all this. And I just wanted to point out that we have a favorite journalist here on Who's Views, don't we, everybody? Yes, we do, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We have a favorite journalist from the Woketro, the Metro, of course. And it's Asia, isn't it? And she had something to say about this in this week's Metro. Look at this. The BBC has let down LGBT plus viewers. I won't forgive them. She carries on. As a Korean woman, I remember my utter delight when the BBC first announced a new LGBT plus primetime dating show, I Kissed a Boy. Surprise, surprise, Scylla's here. I was working, she says, as an LGBTQ plus publication at the time, and the sheer excitement among my colleagues was palpable. Now, was that by any chance something called the Pink Paper, one of the worst homophobic pieces of crap in the world? Was it? Could it possibly have been? Asia, yet again, whosviews1@gmail.com. Come and have a chat, because we'd like to talk to you, because I've got a few friends that would also like to talk to you. Now, what do you mean exactly? You are a queer woman. What does that mean exactly? Usually, it means a heterosexual seeking validation and attention and latching themselves onto homosexual men and women because they think it's a bit more exciting and spicy. So what actually do you mean? If you are a lesbian, bloody well say it and own it. And don't be ashamed about it. One of the things, Who viewers, that I've said on the show before, is that they can't say homosexual, these idiots, and they can't say same-sex attracted because they've labeled that transphobic, because they know exactly that a trans man is a woman and a trans woman is a man. They know it, which is why you can't say that. There was even some idiot in America this week that is trying to get the words same-sex attraction and homosexual banned from the English language. What a div. What an utter div he is. We'll carry on with Asia's nonsense here. Our joy only grew when, during the airing of the first groundbreaking series, a spin-off was announced called I Kissed a Girl. When that show began to air in 2024, it was the main topic of conversation among my queer friends, you homophobic, insulting ninny. I remember the warmth, and I felt laughing over an episode with a group of LGBTQ plus friends who had never seen this kind of representation on screen before. Should have got out more. Helmed by gay icon Danny Minogue and airing on a mainstream network, the show was a game-changing moment on British reality television and one that was long overdue. So you can imagine how gutted and angry I was at the news yesterday that after one more season of I Kissed a Girl, both shows would be axed. I bet you were crying, weren't you, darling? In a statement, the BBC said, we are exceptionally proud of I Kissed a Boy and Girl, the UK's first dating show for the LGBT community. We would like to thank our fabulous Cupid, Danny Minogue, traitor, and the entire team at 2-4, idiots, for bringing the series to screen. Unfortunately, we've had to make difficult choices in light of our funding challenges, and there are no current plans for the show to return. Frankly, given how few seasons we've had and the trailblazing nature of the two shows, this isn't good enough from the corporation, says Asia. These shows played a vital part in bolstering LGBTQ+ acceptance across the board, helping educate the layperson about our experiences. You knob, of course they didn't. This show has meant so much to so many, liar. In fact, as someone who isn't the biggest reality TV watcher, I was stunned at just how much it impacted me. Yeah, it's always about you, isn't it? The general public, the mainstream, the majority didn't give a toss. And quite frankly, that included same-sex attracted men and women, especially when we heard about what was happening in your beloved series last year with I Kissed a Boy. Sometimes you don't realize how important, she says, it is to feel represented until it actually happens, until you feel yourself reflected in an authentic and meaningful way. Now, bear in mind as well, everyone, that this is our favorite journalist from the Woke Show because she talks utter nonsense most of the time. She's been heartbroken over the last couple of series of Doctor Who. She was, if you remember from our shows when we were reviewing the crap with Gatwa in, she was absolutely celebrating the diversity and the representation and all that nonsense. But recently, she's had to reluctantly admit it hasn't done very well. Now, this other one of her favorite shows is going. The poor woman must be on therapy by now, surely. She needs to be. It carries on. And in the case of this series, what made that representation so much more special is that it wasn't monolithic, it was diverse and nuanced. I'm very surprised she knows those three words. The cast always featured people who hailed from a range of communities, and we saw several of the contestants open up about their identities and their journeys to self-acceptance. But beyond that, they were given space to exist as fully rounded people who were more than just their gender identity and sexuality. There was a heartwarming undertone to the whole experience. Now, this is the whole problem, isn't it? Look at that. Gender identity. That's the whole absolute nonsense. There's lots of nonsense about the TQ Cup, but this is the one thing. It's always about the gender identity. We as the majority, we as same-sex attracted men and women are supposed to bend the knee when a fella in a frock with a pinafore dress on, calling himself Deirdre, comes into our space and says that he's a trans woman. You're not. You're a heterosexual male. Now, you can be nice and you can say all the right things, as we do, especially here in Britain, because we're British. And those of us who are British have manners. So we do it. But we know in our heads, you're actually a fella. I know that because I'm same-sex attracted. So when a trans man comes into our spaces, I don't like it because that's a woman. And that woman shouldn't be there. Get the same argument as women have about trans women coming into their spaces, but it's always about the women. They always get at the women for some reason. They forget it happens to the men as well. It's always about the women. No wonder the women are so tired. And they get fed up with it because it's always about them, isn't it? And how men should invade their spaces, which they're doing left, right, and centre. It's ridiculous that they don't see the other side of it as well. Mind you, trans men are women, so they wouldn't want to necessarily go into a man's spaces, except for this show. LGBTQ plus people have often a later start in life when it comes to romantic milestones, said Alicia. And more than one contestant was open about how little dating experience they had. They were in their late teens, early 20s. You know, get out more. The problem with this is as well that you people at the TQ cult have caused this to happen. When I was 16, 17 years old, allegedly, there were what we used to call gay bars, where you could go along and meet people your own age and older. Totally different world back then, because those gay bars are now no longer around, and the ones that are have bent the knee to the TQ cult, not naming any of them in particular. But you know, there's a hell of a lot of them that are just sick now, absolutely sick. And it's your fault. People like you, madam, your fault. In season 1, we saw contestant Demi introduce herself as a baby gay who said she wasn't too sure I fit in, but I want to be part of the community properly. Again, what does that mean? I'm not sure I fit in, but I want to be part of the community. What, was she straight? Was she heterosexual? Was she not wearing enough black nail varnish to make her feel like she was part of something? Why was she attaching herself to LGB if she wasn't sure she was part of that community? Another moment that deeply resonated with viewers, all 6 of them, including Alicia herself, was contestant Georgia discussing her struggle embracing the term lesbian and how it's something to be proud of. Over on I Kissed a Boy, there was a refreshing antithesis to the toxic masculinity we often see in shows like Love Island that seems to have controversy over concerning male behaviour every season. Leave the heterosexual fellas alone. Leave them alone. Lads are lads. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of the gay fellas, same-sex attracted men, are lads. I think I can say safely that I was a bit of a lad myself back in the day, you know? It's just having fun for a lot of them. Leave them alone. They don't need people like you judging them. You are what you accuse others of being. Stop judging these lads. Leave them be. They've been given a bit of money to turn up to this show, reality TV show. There's some pretty girls around them. They're going to show off. Back to this one. It says, instead, we saw masculinity in all its forms, whatever that means. And during an era where trans rights are under more threat than ever, even shared a powerful storyline featuring trans male contestant Lars. Now, this is where I come into this bullcrap last year when I heard that I Kissed a Boy had brought a trans man into the alleged gay dating show. Let's say it again. A trans man is a woman, a heterosexual woman who was there to try and get off with the same sex attracted lads that were in the show. Why does that film Predator come to mind? Carrying on with the article, it said, telling Metro just how much it meant to him at the time, her at the time, she said, it was an opportunity for representation and to represent myself and the community, and that was very personal to me. There are not a lot of trans men in the media, and I want to allow for more of that and open the conversation for more trans men. But just because I was scared, that doesn't mean I shouldn't do it. Part of what made the show feel so special was that it felt like an antidote to the more toxic American LGBTQ plus dating shows that do exist, like The Ultimatum, Queer Love, although, surprise, surprise, that too has been cancelled. Good. While still having excellent drama. Host Annie Minogue herself summed up why these shows are necessary to Metro. There are some dating shows where from season 1 to 20, it's the same people. It's the same conversations. It's rinse and repeat. She's obviously getting at RuPaul's, that old crone drag race. The landscape is changing globally, and we're part of that. It affects everything. This particularly will be such a timestamp of what is going on, whether you're in the community or not, she said. Sadly, this has never been truer than with its axing, which comes amid concerning times locally and globally for my community, says Alicia. Last year, the ILGA's ranking for LGBTQ plus rights for the European countries put the UK 22nd out of 49 countries, a dramatic plunge from spot 13. And that was because, sweetie, people are beginning to realize that the TQ cult is homophobic and made up of heterosexuals and has nothing to do with LGB. You are on the wrong bandwagon. Meanwhile, and here we go, because they always go to this whole thing, the far right. Do you know what? If the real far right turned up today, they'd crap themselves. They wouldn't know what to do, these wimps, because they don't know their history. If they knew their history, they wouldn't dare call anybody far right, because they were horrific. We got taught about it at certain age groups, didn't we, in school? There is no way I would ever call anybody the N-word or far right, because I know my history. Meanwhile, Nigel Farage's Reform Party, says Alicia, which still tops polls, has declared transgender indoctrination is causing irreversible harm to children and threatened to repeal the Equality Act. She then rounds off by saying, as for LGBT people's representation on screens, things are just as dire. So let's go into this. The Reform Party, which still tops the polls, she says, has declared transgender indoctrination is causing irreversible harm to children and has threatened to repeal the Equality Act. Good, because it is. It is. How many people do we now see detransitioning and coming onto the tube of who? Because you won't see this on the BBC or ITV, ITN, Channel 4. You won't see it on there, but you'll see it on this wonderful platform that allows freedom of speech. And you'll see it on the alternative media. Detransitioners having had their life destroyed. The stories are heartbreaking. Turns out they were just same-sex attracted, and somebody somewhere, whether it be in the services or whether it be in the family unit or wherever, has believed the whole thing about the TQ cult thing, oh, you're trapped in the wrong body. Nobody is trapped in the wrong body. Nobody. It's up here. Leave the kids alone. Let them express themselves any way they want to when they're kids. But when they turn into that late teens, when they start to find themselves, that's when we need to listen. If there's any problems then, and then you get them to experts, not TQ cult activists, not the hard left. No, professionals. And if you are a professional in this industry and you are following all this unconscious bias crap and all this TQ cult bias, you're in the wrong job, because you shouldn't be. And Stonewall in this country has so much to answer for because they were everywhere. And they put all this TQ cult nonsense into everything going. Everything going. It's a disgrace to this day. I'm going to come to you in the chat because you've been giving me lots of chats. Let's have a look. Johnny the Cabbage is saying to me, the Reform only tops the polls because they still count the members who have cancelled their memberships. So officially that runs out on the original end date when it was taken out. So, having said that, Johnny, I mean, I'm currently politically homeless, I would say. So I'm up for grabs. Having said that, I'll never vote Labour again in my life. Never. And I will look at, when the elections come up, I will look at the manifestos, because that's what I do, because I like politics, and I will read the manifestos apart from Labour and the Greens. And I will read everything, and then I'll decide really which way I'm going to go. But I have to say, this very week, Johnny, there was a report pushed out independently, which actually said that more and more same-sex attracted men and women are now going to vote Reform. The reason being for that is Reform, despite what the TQ cult propaganda says, despite what the BBC propaganda says, actually do recognize same-sex attracted rights and women's rights. It's as simple as that. And as more and more men and women wake up, or homosexual men and women wake up, they're finding themselves particularly politically, homeless. And they're seeing that. And at this point as well, I'd just like to say to a particular person of mine who blocked me on Facebook this week, go and have a look who's in charge underneath Farage, the chairman and stuff like that. They have gay people in that party. I'm not endorsing them, of course, at this moment. It's down to you all who's going to do it. I don't know who I'm going to vote for. We've got a long way to go yet, haven't we? We've got a long way to go. What else have we got? What else have we got? Problem being, hello, mate. I remember hearing in the clubs back in the 90s that Kylie and Danny were homophobic, but understood they made up their fan base and took the money. I actually remember that as well. I do remember that. I changed my mind, though, PB, in Glasgow, God knows how many years ago, when I was working at a club and Danny Minogue was appearing, and she did her set, and then she was back. So when the club ended, we all ended up at somebody's house in the flat, and by God, she knew some filthy jokes. And she was okay, because she was surrounded by gay men. So I was never too sure about that. I don't know. Anyway, Kev, JT, this is what I mean. Back in the day, it was due to pressure from society that men would marry women. True, but they were born gay. Yes, no such thing as thinking you might be gay. When you know it, you know it. You do, and it tends to happen in your early life. Like I remember having a crush on David Soul and the guy from the Hardy Boys. What was his name, everybody? The blonde one. Somebody's brother, a singer's brother at the time. Can't remember, but I didn't think anything of it because I also had a crush on Linda Carter. It could have gone anyway. Wonder Woman. Actually, gay icon. Well, she used to be. But, wow. Everything was so much easier to understand in the 80s, says John Steve, but now everything needs to have a label. And if you don't agree, you're bigoted. That's exactly the point. It's exactly that. Hello, Dalek Shalom. How are you? Identity is everything to them. They have no other way of claiming victimhood. They are selfish and weak women who aim to demasculine boys. I found it was very annoying last year that they were getting on this bandwagon and they were going to insist to the viewers, what there was of them, they were insisting to the community, both LGB and the TQ communities, and the boys that were in this thing, that here's a trans man is a man. No, she isn't, she's a woman. And do you know what happened, which made me laugh? All the boys, of course, rejected her because they were same-sex attracted. And this is what I meant by these boys. They put them into a trauma because they had believed up until this point that trans men were men. And then here comes this woman trying to get off with them in this alleged reality television show, which very impressionable people like the woke show journalist was watching. That is not the right message to send at all. It's disgusting. It was not just homophobia, it was disgusting. If you want the heterosexuality, go and do it. Because as I say, the majority of transgenders are heterosexual, and sexuality and gender are two different things, as this show proved beautifully. Yeah. Problem being, say to me that, do you remember when the queue used to be for questioning? I do, and that's how they snuck it in. Questioning, I mean, good God. I used to know, says SG, a gay couple who worship Kylie. I've known lots of them in my time. I like Kylie. I don't worship her, but I like Kylie. I've got her albums. I've been to see her several times. I like her. I love the way that she's actually kept a big mouth shut. She's played the game properly. She hasn't come out yet with anything to do with these issues. And because of that, unlike Madonna, who's made a lot of her fan base turn on her now because she came out in favor of the TQ cults, Kylie's been a bit classy. So, but the people I knew that used to like Kylie, of course, don't talk to me anymore. Simple as that. But this is what happened with this awful, horrible show. And I'm glad to see it go. I'm glad it's been axed. Really glad it's gone. Because what nonsense was that? How dare you try and push onto us, or especially onto these poor young lads who you've probably now traumatized. I mean, they were all mincing ninnies anyway, from what I could tell, prancing around. They've probably been watching that old Crone's Drag Race for years. At some point, I hope they grow up and become men rather than these stupid boys that run around thinking they're effeminate. Stop it. Stop that. Just grow up. But here they are, probably traumatized by the fact that they turned this woman down. And I would say to them, apart from grow up, don't be, because she was a woman and you are same-sex attracted. Own it and be proud of it. People died for your rights. I know they're being rewritten, but people died for you. Danny Minogue should go the same way as Hazel Dean. Kylie has been smart so far, says Jason Parker. Hazel Dean, I cannot be arsed with her. Cannot be arsed with her, because she has definitely gone down the TQ cut. Oh, trans women are women, trans men are men. Oh, bugger off, Hazel. Bugger off. There's stories I could tell you about her, but I'm not going to at the moment. I might do one day, but not at the moment. Connor. Hiya, Connor. How are you? Connor Simpson is making me laugh. JT, we just heard the news that Donald Trump is preparing to invade Britain. And if my theory is correct, it means that the United States are preparing to attack Britain to capture Keir Starmer. Well, I'll be washing my hair when that happens, to be quite frank. I'm not really worried. Johnny the Cabbage could say, oh, go on, spill. No, it's just that Hazel Dean and I don't get along. I am blocked from all her social media, of course, by calling her out, saying you spent decades in the closet when you should have been coming out as a lesbian and being proud of that. And you're late to the party, as many of these people are. H from Steps, for example, and don't get on with him anymore either. And you've got all this whole thing about they're now going on and banging on about the TQ cult and the TQ rights and trans rights and human rights. Well, what about homosexual rights? Human rights? You have you don't have any skin in this game. You've got no rights because you were in the closet for decades. Shut the hell up. Yeah. Well, there we go. That was the first bit of good news I had this week, everybody. Need a cup of tea. Hang on. Nice to see you all in the chat. I know, Johnny the Cabbage. Oh, I know. What was I going to say? Yeah, that was the first piece of good news I had this week. There was another bit of good news. Now, on the last live at 6 I did, whenever that was, last month, I think, maybe the month before, I was mentioning the interview that Ollie Alexander and Munro Bergdorf had done on Lorraine Keller's show one morning. You can go back and look at that. Utter nonsense as usual. Lorraine, another one that's jumped on a very misinformed bandwagon. She used to be all about all about same-sex attractive rights, blah blah blah, and now she's like everybody else in the industry, thrown that down the toilet because this new thing comes out. Oh, shut up, just shut up. So you've got all that. But they were talking about Ollie Alexander's project, which was called Transmission. I keep wanting to say Transmission Vamp for some reason. That's far more glamorous than they deserve. Anyway, so what we've got here is they had this gig going on at Wembley Arena, and they were really pushing it. I'd forgotten all about it. It was obviously aimed at the TQ cult. It's Wembley Arena. Now, for those of you who don't know Wembley Arena, it's a proper arena. It's a nice size. I've been there several times myself, so I'm sure a lot of you have to see various things. And it's a good size. It's a really good size. John, I'm coming to this in a minute. I've noticed David Tennant's been quiet for a while. Stay right there. Anyway, this transmission thing was a concert which was supposed to raise funds for TQ cult charities, including one which actually supports young people, allegedly, I believe, in their journey to transition. These are kids we're dealing with. They might just be gay. Bugger off. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Don't be telling them that they might be in need of transitioning. That's evil, in my eyes, my opinion. Anyway, this thing had not just Ollie Alexander there warbling away, but Adam Lambeth. These people should know better as well. They've all bent the knee to the TQ cult. Beth Ditto, Beverly Knight, never buying any more of her records. Christine and the Queens, never buying any more of their records. The Sugar Babes, I don't know which variant, quite frankly. Could be any one of the 5 or 6 that they had. Sophie Alice Bextor, very disappointed in you, Sophie Alice Bextor. Won't be buying any more of your records. Tom Grennan. And then, of course, it had, Juno Dawson, probably preaching somewhere. And you may have actually seen it on X especially, but they had that lunatic that's currently running the Green Party, Zach Polanski, with all his bullcrap. Have you heard him? Goodness me. He's being bigged up at the moment by the Pink News, by Attitude, by Gay News. To Gay News as well. Get the word gay out of your title, you homophobic hypocrites. Start calling yourself the TQ News because you've got nothing to do with same-sex attractive men and women. Nothing. These papers and these magazines that used to represent us and give us good news and politics, now it's all propaganda. And you can tell that by Zach Polanski and all these people around him on the stage clapping like seals at him, just like they do for RTD when he turns up to an industry event. Like Zach Polanski did at the Attitude Awards that RTD was at. He's talking nonsense. For those of you who like the Green Party, do your bloody research. Look who his deputy is. Do you really think that LGB people and even the TQ cult people are going to be tolerated by the Islamic religion? No is the answer. No, they are not. Wake up. Anyway, was delighted on X to see these pictures from Wembley Arena. Now, this one is admittedly 10 minutes before the gig starts. Now, look at all that. 10 minutes before the gig, it's quite empty. So some of the people that were there, not many, have gone on and said, no, it was 10 minutes before the gig. Right, so let's look at 5 minutes before the gig. Now, these were taken by a woman, what the TQ cult would be calling a TERF, a trans exclusionary radical feminine, or feminist rather, who was there, who went to see what the turnout would be like and what the gig would be like. So this was 5 minutes, I believe, before showtime. And then this one is showtime. So this is into the gig. And I'm delighted to say there's hardly anyone there. And this is the report that came back. Look at that. I am delighted to say nobody went. Why they still carried on with this nonsense, I don't know, because that was surely a loss. Any sensible person would have probably cancelled the gig and refunded the money. But no, it's about the point, isn't it, for this thing? It's about the point. So they all went on anyway and did whatever they did. One person that didn't turn up, though, was David Tennant.
Hello, Transmission. How you all doing? It's David Tennant here. Very sad not to be there tonight to be part of this amazing event, but I send lots of love from afar. Have an amazing time, celebrate, and feel the love. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Oh.
Is it me, or did he come across really slimy there, Who viewers? Was there something there? Do you know what I mean? Do you want to see it again? Because he came across as really slimy. Let's do it again.
Hello, Transmission. How you all doing? It's David Tennant here. Very sad not to be there tonight to be part of this amazing event, but I send lots of love from afar. Have an amazing time, celebrate, and feel the love. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Oh.
Feel the love. Do you know what I mean? There's something yicky about that, isn't there? Ugh, says Dan Reed. My dinner's just returned. I bet it has. Yeah. Margie's saying that, yeah, he sounds creepy, doesn't he, Margie? He really does. Very slimy, says SG. And Connor is saying there's something wrong with him. There's several things wrong with him. Creep, said problem being, and ew, says the Jason Park. Do you see what I'm saying about that? There was really something about that. You know, this whole message he sent, a real yicky message. A lot of the people that were supposed to be supporting it and who would bang on about this, like him, didn't turn up. Stephen Fry was another one that sent another message. There were a couple of the messages there from people. I'm not going to bore you all with it, but there were a few messages that came through from people who suddenly couldn't make it into the venue. Isn't that strange? Isn't that strange? They suddenly that night couldn't make it to the gig. Virtue signaling is the word that comes to mind for me. These people, they have to be seen to be doing the right thing in show business, don't they? They have to be on the, quote, right side of history. Well, let me tell you all, you are not. You are supporting homophobia, and you are losing people that admire your work. Two, our favorite woke journalist in The Journalist as well. Again, I would say to you, if you want to get in touch and have a right to reply, come onto the show live. We would like to talk to you, and there's questions I would like to ask you. What do you mean about you are clear? What does that mean exactly? What makes somebody clear? Because I'll tell you something, lady, there is nothing queer about same-sex attraction. I fought for years against that. I have lost friends over that word, and then you lot come along and say it's accepted. No, it's not. It's still a homophobic slur, and I'm not going to bend the knee to any of you, even if it causes me to lose friends as it has done. If you want to come onto the show, whosviewsone@gmail.com, come and tell us what exactly you mean, what is going on with you, and why you think that's appropriate. And let me show you this from today. This is just a nice example of some of the nonsense I have to deal with when I put up the hashtag LGB without the TQ and explain that I feel that the LGB needs to be broken away from the TQ cult. This person in America, this pink-haired person called Kristen, hello to you, has said there is no LGB without the T. Plus, since nobody has added the P yet, pansexuals fall under the Q and will also not be erased. What the hell is pansexual? She then got to be saying, first off, I have often been a local community leader for all of the letters. Yippee do to you. Second, I don't have to be T to recognize they belong. They don't. They don't. And she goes on to say, third, my personal pansexuality means that I am bisexual. So why don't you just say bisexual then, you clown? Plus, all the genders, there are 2 genders, Kristen, that don't neatly fit the outdated binary. This is where we're getting at. This is where they're at. Oh, it's all outdated. And they're all so desperate. They're all so desperate to be seen as current and modern. They are delusional. This is why we need to bring back the lunatic asylums. So, all the genders that don't neatly fit the outdated binary, bullcrap, which means I identify as pan or queer. Yeah, we reclaimed that term ages ago, so it couldn't be used to hurt us anymore. It's bigots that we don't need. So there's the implication of what I am. I'm used to it. I don't care. You can call me what the hell you like. I don't care. I didn't do all my activism for same-sex rights for nothing. And I'm certainly not going to bend the knee to this lot now. So look at the fantasy island that this Kristen Streck in America lives on. I identified as pan or queer. I don't give a bull crap how you identify. You are still not in my club, lady. And then there's the whole thing about we reclaimed the term ages ago, so it couldn't be used to hurt us all the more. It's a homophobic slur. It is hurting us, just not your element. And I tell you, the Q word is used more and more by attention-seeking, virtue-signaling heterosexuals and people like you who say you are pansexual when actually what you mean is bisexual. All this bullshit that they've created winds me up. It really does. And we have all these narcissists from the entertainment and showbiz industry absolutely endorsing it. How thick are they? No wonder they're all actors. I'll tell you something, if you put them in Tesco or Asda and told them to fill the shelves, they wouldn't be able to do it. They would not be able to do it. Tell you. Thank you, Stephen Braddock. A gorgeous picture of a Dalek there. Love that. Keep that going for tonight. Matt Enspiel is saying, I'm guessing she wears a septum piercing to go with her unique pink hair. Why do they all have these things? Why do they always look weird? You know, goodness me. Problem being, saying, and yet it still hurts. I bet she never called queer while having her face stomped in. Exactly. Exactly. And I've said it before. I had a friend once that lost his life, and I will swear to you, that was one of the last words he heard in what we used to call a gay bashing. Nobody was ever brought to justice for that, by the way, as well. Strange that, isn't it? Darren Reed is saying, pansexual, open to all offers, except no one will ever come along. And John Steed, I identify as I don't give a shite about them. Me neither. And I don't care about their it's all about their feelings now. It's about their feelings. It's about their insistences, their demands. No, I don't care what you feel. I don't care about that. Keep it to you inside. Keep it to you indoors. I don't want to know about your feelings. I don't give a toss. I care about truth and reality. And what you guys push is homophobic nonsense. Geeks Assemble, it's nice to see you. JT, your words are so true. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, and Heretic is saying, JT, if you missed it, Enemy are reporting 10,000 people at the Wembley gig. I didn't miss it. Yeah, I'm sure that even still, that's not many for the arena at Wembley Arena, is it? It's not many at all. But I prefer to listen to the lesbian that was there who said, this is nonsense. There was nowhere near 10,000 people. They might have sold 10,000 tickets, but they didn't all show up on the night. Huge differences. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for listening to my rant this evening here on the 15th of March, 2026, live at 6 here at Who's Views. Thank you so much for joining me. Coming up in an hour's time here on the channel, it's your big show this Sunday. Yes, it's headlines, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. Plus, we are going to be, of course, continuing our celebrations from Friday of that wonderful news of the return of 2 episodes from the Daleks' master plan. So I hope you can come back and join me in an hour's time here on the channel. The show is up there for you now to set a reminder to. So come back and let's get into the discussion. We've got a lot to discuss again tonight. Thank you for joining me for Live at 6. See you in an hour, everyone. Ta-ra.